All right, Wendy, what's the deal?
I just walked off the floor. You were in the audience?
I was.
It's exciting, right?
Great show.
Thank
Great
you.
show. A lot of energy. Very impressive.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's incredible to really see you kind of elevate from, from radio to this. And
Yeah.
having the show on multiple networks and everything.
Yeah.
It's really impressive. So your book.
Yeah.
I just got it. I read through it.
Uh-huh.
So in your book, you're talking about when you were younger, you didn't have very good gaydar.
Right. I did.
And you dated a lot of guys who ended up being gay.
Yeah, yes.
How do you feel about celebs that are coming out of the closet these days, like Jason Williams?
Yeah.
Who came out the closet and his girlfriend of 7 years said that she had no idea.
Well, I feel sorry for her, but she's not going through anything that many women haven't gone through. And there are, millions of women who've dated gay men before. There are millions more who still have no gaydar, don't realize that they've been there and that they're still dating gay men. And I think that the more people like Jason that come out of the closet, out of being fearless, it's unfortunate that he was trapped in the closet for 8 years of this young woman's life, because she will never get those years back. And sorry for talking so passionately, but if there's one thing that irks the hell out of me is a deceptive, closeted man. If you are being kept in the closet because of closed-minded family and stupid people in society, then that's a horrible thing. But don't drag one of us into it. And I say one of us, a woman who wants kids and a husband and a family one day. Like don't make us a part of your mess. We don't want to be your beard. We just want to be your friend. We'll keep your secret. But yeah, so I feel like, I haven't heard anything about Jason writing a book, but that's not the book that I would want to read, because now that he's out of the closet, he's free. Thank God for him. Thank God. I don't need to read when was his first lover or how he discovered he was gay. For me personally, that's not important. The important thing is that he's free. The book I want to read is the book from her, because she says she didn't know. Maybe she didn't want to know. I don't know. I want to read that. And that's the book that I think that is a must read for all women.
I heard that she's freezing her eggs right now because she said that she lost like 8 years of her life. And she's worried about being able to have children now, as she gets older.
Yeah, well, she's, 33 years old? Okay, well, she's probably shell-shocked that she might get involved with another closeted man. And so, therefore, and that's a real concern, because after we've realized we were with a closeted man, I'll be damned, we get with another closeted man. But I don't blame her. She's nervous. So it's going to take a long time and a lot of trust before she takes off a condom and decides to get impregnated or move in with or even introduce to her friends, perhaps, the new guy in her life.
As someone who's married and is around a man all the time, do you think that it's really possible for a woman not to know after 8 years?
Yes, I do think it's impossible for her not to know.
So you think that she was just in denial the whole time?
You know what? It's hard to say in denial, but what I will say is that when she got with him, she was about 25 years old. That was about the time that, I had, a number of dates with men who I look back now and I'm like, oh my God, Wendy, the signs were all there. He was so gay. And I run into a couple here and there, Wendy, I was so gay. And I'm like, well, I see that now. But I think that young women particularly are still into stereotyping what gay is. So they're looking for a man who switches his hips or arched eyebrows, or maybe he uses light man foundation or rims his eyes with eyeliner. You can't stereotype what is coming at you in terms of anybody, gay girl or gay boy. But I do think that in 8 years, there were some signs that she might have been out of town skiing and she wasn't there to see them or something. Because if they're not signs with the guy, there's usually signs with his little friends.
Yeah. In the black community, you see, a lot of men who come out of prison, who have the homo thug kind of mentality. Do you really, and you really have a lot of, gay people who work for you and a lot of gay people in your audience. Mm-hmm. Do you think that men can be bisexual, or do you think they're just gay and may like women every so often.
My verdict is out on bisexuality regarding men, only because it's so painful and invasive. You know what I mean? No jokes intended. I wouldn't want to be involved with a bisexual man. You know, I've got a tough enough time dealing with your issues as a man, particularly the issues that society puts on black men. You know, and I will ride with you, but if you told me you were bisexual, I respectfully decline, because I don't know that I believe bisexuality for a man. Isn't that weird? But for a woman, because it's soft and beautiful, and there's no moving parts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Crazy, but you asked, so.
I got you. In your book, you mentioned that Kevin cheated on you.
Yeah.
While you were pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about how you found out and the effects of it?
A late night telephone call and some clandestine whispering. You see, I had already had the baby, so when you deliver a baby, the mother doesn't get much sleep anyway. Little Kev might have been, 1 month old, like fresh from the hospital. And I wasn't back to work yet. So I was just only mom, waking up all night. And, I overheard some greasy talk from the next room. Well, who's he talking to? So, I tipped and I crept and I heard what I heard. And I was like, wow, okay, so this is how it's going down. Little Kev's 12, so that was 12 years ago. It has made our marriage, and I know this is cliche, but it's true, it's made our marriage stronger. And no, I'm not back to the girl that I was before him, because when you get stung like that, you never go back to who you were. Only a fool does. But I love him and he loves me, and we addressed it head on, and it was a mutual decision to reveal this in my 2001 autobiography, Wendy's Got the Heat. And if you told me when I was 25 years old or 30 years old that I would stay around for a cheater, I would have been like, you's a lie. You are lying. I've got way too much to offer a man to stick around for him cheating on me. At that particular time, I had my career in radio. I was making a great salary. I had a vacation property, of my very own, and the world was my oyster. So I definitely thought I wasn't staying around for some cheating. But I did. And I don't regret it. And I do think it's a double standard with cheating. I think that you men are just sometimes so Neanderthal that you could never put up with your woman cheating, a man putting paws on your meat, But women have got to deal with that fact, many of us, at some point in our lives.
I think in the book you had mentioned that I guess your parents were home. Were at your house?
Yes, my parents were at our house at the time that happened. So, needless to say, they were home at the house. They were visiting from Florida, helping me learn how to be a mother. And little Kev was like a month old, so they were planning on staying for 3 months until I went back to work. So they were right at the house in the middle of all that. And I think one of the smartest things that I could have done was only involve them in terms of whatever they might have overheard. I never went to my mother and talked to my mother about it. I never talked to my father about it. I'm sure my father wanted to punch Kevin out for, the old man that he is. But, this is what dads want to do. This is what brothers and siblings want to do. But this is a problem that was between me and Kevin. And it just so happens that everybody was in the house because they were visiting us from out of town. But I did not bring it to them. They minded their own business. And we've all healed. It's not just me who's healed. My mom and dad played their position. In other words, stay out of it. And love him like their very own son today. Just love him, respect our union, understand how hard we go for our love. And when they hear passionate talk at our house, they know to mind their own business, which I love. And it does get passionate at our house. Hashtag scream.
A lot of celebrity couples and wealthy couples, explore the whole open relationship thing. Is that something you guys ever considered or talked about?
No.
No.
I would never have an open relationship. I think that's a recipe for disaster, and it's more than just celebrities. I know 4 couples in my own personal life of regular, normal people. 2 black, 1 white, and 1 mixed, where she's black and he's white. And these are all people with advanced degrees. I'm talking, they got their 4-year college, but now they're on to doctorates and masters and law degrees and things like that. They have open relationships. For the life of me, I would never do that. But you know what I've noticed? Open relationships seemed cute and worked for these couples. And, you know, I kind of enjoyed being friends with them. None of them know each other, but I kind of enjoyed it just to, you know, like just an observation. But guess what's happened? As the women have gotten older, because now we're all around 50, they've slowed down on this notion, and the husbands still want it. So now it's created a little dissension. You know, in other words, it was cute and funky and fly when everybody's 35 years old. But now, damn near 50 and kids, some of the women don't want an open relationship anymore. But, you know, the horse has left the stable. How are you going to dial back? Right. I don't know. That's not something I would consider, though.
In the man drama chapter of your book, when it comes to cheating, you said you deny it, to take it to your grave.
Damn right.
So, has Kevin ever accused you of cheating?
No.
No.
I'm always available. And just because you're available doesn't mean you cheat. You don't cheat, but you know what? It raises suspicions when you make furtive movements. You know, when you're always going out with your girls at night, as opposed to sometimes at night, but mostly during the day. Honestly, I find the best time to get together with friends is during the day. You can drink the same amount of wine, you have the same meal in the same dark restaurant, and the same girl talk, and it's fabulous, and you're home before it gets dark. You can also cheat during the day. So, you know, a person is foolish to think that cheating only happens at night. Yeah. I mean, you know, we do what we can in terms of human nature to try to alleviate suspicion of anything like that. And I think one of the things that works for us, yeah, we work together, but we also have, you know, lives outside of work. And my life goes over here and his life goes over here. And that's the only way we can make it where we don't crack each other's skulls. But when my cell phone rings, I pick it up. Now, if I don't pick it up after 3 times, then that could be that I'm in an interview. I'll call you, you know, when I get out of the interview. No, he's never accused me of cheating. And that's not my style. Yeah. You know, I'm a relationship person. But for people who do cheat, unless you are busted, cold busted, take it to your grave.
So
don't get all Mother Teresa on me and start confessing. You know, tretching them on Naughty by Nature said it the best. Do your dirt all by your lonely. Don't tell your friends what you're up to. If, you know, you need some strange, then, and I'm not condoning it, but all I'm saying is, what is the purpose of telling? Because all you're doing is hurting feelings. Nobody's giving you an award for admitting that you cheated.
So basically what you're saying is that if Kevin cheated again, you just don't want to know about it. Just keep it on the low. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if I cheated on Kevin, right, I would not tell him. If he cheated, if you cheat on your wife, don't tell her. Right. If you are busted, then confess. Okay. I got you. Yeah. You talk about money in your book. And you're saying that you're one of the few people that actually talks about money openly. Like you'll actually walk up to a woman and say, "Oh, I like your bag. How much should it cost?"
Yeah.
What are some of the most important things? You know, I mean, when it comes to money, especially if you don't grow up with it, mm-hmm, it's hard to deal with it when you first get it.
Right.
What were some of the most important things you've learned about having money and keeping money?
Well, I learned from my mom to always have my own. There's nothing wrong with, you know, not disclosing the balances and things like that. I also, you know, a woman's got to know how to make her way. You've got to know how to get a mortgage. You've got to know, you know, what the light bill is, even if you're married, because you never know when a marriage could go left. That's the first thing. I've also learned that it is a fool who co-signs on loans for people that they aren't married to. I don't care if you are my boyfriend and we've lived together for 15 years, Vlad. I am not co-signing on the loan for you to get your new Toyota. Unless I've got a dope career with dope money, and in the back of my mind, I know, oh, by the way, if I co-sign on the loan, then it's my car, you're just driving it. I'm going to be on the title and everything. And I know that if you and I break up, I keep the car and you go your own separate way. And those little car notes are nothing. That's for the woman, with a large bank account. I've also learned about money that all money is not good money. I like to think that Kevin and I operate our business off of integrity. We've been turning down deals and schmeals since the radio days, lots of them. If it's not fitting into our moral wheelhouse or the convenience now that we're parents of being able to look out for our son and each other, then we're not doing it. We might have to wait a little bit longer for our ship to come in, but our quality of life is great. And that to me is what marks success, quality of life. And the reason that I get cheesy and I ask you, oh my gosh, I love your bag, how much did it cost? Is because I feel like if you've never had money, and I didn't grow up with money. I mean, I grew up solid middle class, but in the scheme of like what I'm doing right now, this is a whole new life for me.
Right.
I ask how much things are, and people find it distasteful, oh well, because I want to know whether this is something that I would consider in the future. My neighbors built a pool. I was nickel and diming. Okay, so how much is it when you get the diving board? Now, I don't want a pool, but I just want to know. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm not responsible enough for a pool. Fishing out the raccoons and stuff. I mean, the pool boy might not be a bad option, but anyway, I like to know. Okay, so you got your Phantom. All right, how much is it per month to have this detailed? How much were the wheels? How much is the insurance? How much? You want to know, because I think that the notion of money and what to do with it is a lot of smoke and mirrors and BS. And if people would be more revealing about what costs what and how to attain what, then I think it would give the rest of us on the climb to the top of the money trail an idea of what to do with it as we're going up and once we get there.
Well, what do you think is the worst decision you've ever made regarding money? Whether it was a bad purchase, just something impulsive.
I mean, we've come through it, but we've had just about every exotic car you can possibly name. I mean, for the last 15 years of my life, I mean, we went from the 600 or 800 Benz, whatever the highest one is, with the Lorenzo kit, the 22-inch rims. I'd be scared to drive it. I mean, and my husband handles cars, I handle house. I mean, we make a decision on house together, but I handle exactly what goes on inside and around the house. And I like my husband to be on car duty. I feel like that's what a man should do. And, I'm not going to lie. You do like to roll fly until it's your turn to drive it. I've messed up some rims. They're just not practical.
Right.
Thank God we've never had to lose the farm over cars, but we've had everything. I mean,
Ferraris,
Austin Martin, we've had Ferraris, Lamborghinis. We still have, exotic cars. We've had Bentleys. We had the Phantom with the suicide doors, which I used to feel. How am I driving that to the shop, right? Like, I'm embarrassed. Like, I was so embarrassed when we had it that, except for when it's dark out, I'd be down in the seat like this. My husband will tell you, I'm a flashy chick, but not in that kind of way.
Okay.
But yeah, I would say cars. He would disagree with me, but I would say the last 15 years of cars have been #stupid.
Like the Bugatti is like the car of choice in the hip hop world now. It's like 1.5 million.
Yeah.
Has Kevin been hitting you up for?
No.
He wants to get one of those.
No, he's not talking about that. But one thing I have to admit that I would like to get, I need one of those Bentley trucks as soon as it rolls off the.
Oh yeah.
They look nice.
They do look nice.
You could drive that to the shop, right? As long as it's in black, with no chrome anywhere. And chrome is corny now, so that's good. You know what I mean?
Kanye and A$AP Rocky recently wore skirts and dresses. Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with both?
Yeah.
What do you think of this fashion?
Really? Remember, I am hip hop.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny how when men get older in hip hop, they're still, well respected, well versed, Cool Herc, you know what I'm saying, and Red Alert, and the legends, KRS-One. You put me in there, and all of a sudden it's like, oh no, Wendy's a talk show lady. No. I listened to Big L on the way to work this morning. No, I am familiar with Kanye and ASAP and the kilts.
Right. Well, Kanye had the kilt, and then ASAP had the long dress.
Yeah.
Have you seen the ASAP picture?
Yeah, I'm not down with any of that. I mean, wouldn't be my man.
No.
No.
We brought in Lord Jamar from Brand New
Being,
because he had made some comments about that.
What did he say?
Well, he talked about the whole feminization of hip hop culture from the 80s on.
I think he's taking the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, I mean, he talked about how when we were younger, you wear an ear in your left ear, and that was considered straight, and in your right ear, that'd be gay, and then at one point, people started wearing both earrings, and what I mean?
And then they started wearing girl pants, and then they're wearing jeggings, and then, yes, it's very effeminized, but be very clear. There were lots of homosexuals in hip-hop back in the 80s, too. That was what's worse, hip-hop wearing skirts or hip-hop being closeted and having a plethora of kids to prove manhood that, and denial of something that you shouldn't have to deny, which is your sexuality. Mm-hmm. So I hear what Jamar is saying, but we come from a very homosexual era of hip hop as well. There was a radio personality once upon a time. Her name was Wendy Williams, and she was practically burned at the stake for talking about such. And now it's all come full circle.
Right, it was the Diddy situation.
There were many situations, none of which to talk about, but there were many situations back in the day in my career, and it's all coming full circle now. So,
do you think now with people like Frank Ocean coming out of the closet, he's not exactly a rapper, but he definitely overlaps into the rap community. Mm-hmm. Do you think that we're gonna have a time where it's cool to be a gay rapper?
I don't know, because I still see Frank Ocean as being one amongst many, but one, and that's good. But and then there was the notion of this radio DJ in New York who is in denial. So that just goes to show you how far the homosexual movement within hip hop and sports still needs to go. It is politically correct to be accepting, but behind closed doors, people are still hating. And Jason, the basketball player, is one, but it will be a long time, I think, before another actively playing in the locker room ball player comes out. And it's unfortunate, but that's where I am, on it. Frank Ocean, good for him. And Jason, good for him.
Gotcha. My last question, and this is something that you cover all the time on your show. Mm-hmm. The Black TV viewers may not be aware of your stance. What's your take on Chris Brown and Rihanna? Stretching from the original relationship to the violence, to them getting back together, to where they currently are, which is sort of taking shots, on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah. Well, I think that they're reflective of today's society, where young girls and guys are getting caught up in physically, as well as emotionally, but we're going to stick to physically since that apparently was their thing. They're girls right now in high school getting pushed around by their boyfriends, and it's unfortunate. And they're girls in college right now getting pushed around by their boyfriends. And Chris Brown and Rihanna aren't an isolated incident. And I feel that abuse like that, whether it starts early or starts late, is reflective of what's going on within the household. Both of them have sketchy household backgrounds. Chris saw a lot with his mother and his father, and Rihanna saw a lot with her mother and her father. And I think it's very, very sad. I feel as though, these kids, them and also the kids in high school and college, are putting up with stuff in relationships that they should not be dealing with at all at this age. I mean, abuse is wrong even when you're 40 years old with 3 kids and married. But at least There's a reason for a pinch of counseling and maybe rehabbing for the animal that's beat you because you've got 3 kids and you've been married for 10 years and stuff. Right now, these stupid kids, they're putting up with stuff in relationships that kids should not have to put up with. You know, when you're young like that, relationships are supposed to be fairly easy breezy. You have an argument, a fight, and like this and like that. But at 23 years old, as soon as he cheats, you need to break up. Don't put up with old people's problems. As soon as he beats, break up. And there is no going back. And there is no counseling. What are you talking, 23-year-old, we're going to go to counseling? Really? You mean like grown folk?
How did you feel when they got back together after the physical abuse?
I looked at them like nuts, but also part of that's also publicity stunt. You know, it's funny. And one of the times they got back when they both had the birthday cake song coming out or whatever. Look, I've lost track of their entire situation. I'm just hoping that the breakup now is the breakup for good. And if they ever do get back together, please let it be when they're 35, 40 years old, and they decide, you know what, you really were the love of my life, and I've settled down, and I've done the work and the counseling, and I'm a better person. But the back and forth, and I feel as though it's also encouraged by both of their sides, which makes the parents and the adults in their lives look crazier than the kids could ever look.
I mean, you're a fairly tall girl yourself. Have you ever been in a physically abusive relationship yourself?
I've never been in a fight in my life. Not some stupid hating girl on the playground, and not in real life. No, I don't put up with physically abusive relationships. And even though I do believe in counseling and things like that, fortunately, because I've got a reasonable career that gives me a situation where I can just pack up and go to a hotel and deal with the rest through divorce court, I would divorce. There's no coming back from that.
I got you. Anything else you want to add?
Yes. How you doing? Oh, you know what? Yes. The Wendy book is in bookstores now everywhere. It's called Ask Wendy. And it's broken down into great chapters. Chapters like Between the Sheets drama, the kids drama, baby mama drama, style drama, online drama. And I did the best that I could with the advice that I gave. I shoot straight from the hip, a little cursing in the book. I mean, you're getting the real raw Wendy. It's available in bookstores everywhere, and Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com. And it was a really fun book to write.
Yeah, it was a fun book to read also.
Yeah, it was comprised of letters from Wendy watchers all around the country, which I appreciated them bearing their souls.
And it was nice how you actually put in your own personal drama when answering people's questions.
Well, you have to put in your personal drama. Otherwise, I sound like a big know-it-all, and I'm not that person. I'm a work in progress every single day. But, fortunately, with having a talk show and having a great radio career, to some people, I've become a trusted voice in their heads and in their household. And I honor that. I honor that. And there wasn't a letter in the book that made me laugh at you because you asked me something that a younger Wendy would have said, "What are you, stupid?" and laugh at you. But an older, more mature Wendy understands that for every one person that's asking advice for something, there's somebody else. Like in the Between the Sheets drama, how's a woman going to write me and tell me that she's been married for 5 years and they have children, but all of a sudden her husband is just not doing it for her, that he's too small, that she finds herself masturbating to get off more than not. With a case like that, I just get so upset because if you knew he was too small the first time you slept with him, why would you go back for a second time? You've got to get as close to the bullseye as you possibly can when you're out here dating in these streets.
Right.
Unless you're only dating for a drive-by. And as a woman when you're in drive-by mode and when you're in relationship mode. There have been times in my life where I don't want a boyfriend. All I want is some dinner and somebody to make me feel pretty and good. So I'm with you for that particular purpose. I don't need you to be smart. I don't need you to be tall. I don't need you to be anything. I just need you to be, because I am kicking you out afterwards. Then as a smart person, when you're in marriage-minded mode or keeper mode, you're on the hunt, Vlad, for your baby's mother and a potential wife. Then don't date hood rats with gigantic asses. That's what you like, but that's not necessarily what you want to marry. Don't date a girl with gigantic breasts or whatever. So Certainly, there are many questions in the book that had me perplexed, but none that made me laugh or not sympathize with the writer. You know,
And your first marriage lasted 5 months.
it lasted for 5 months.
So you made those same mistakes yourselves.
Well, I've made the mistake. Like, I don't believe in relationships, romantic relationships at work, you know, other than a quickie. You know, a little drive-by, something where only you know and he knows, nobody else knows about it, you know, and you might, you know, do something one time just to get that itch out and then leave it alone. It takes, and there are exceptions to every rule, but it takes an extremely mature person to deal with a relationship, a loving relationship in the workplace. And mine got stinky and ugly. The marriage was disgusting. It only lasted for a moment of time, but you know, I've learned my lesson. For me, relationship at work doesn't work. Now, I was already married to my husband before this, so there is an exception. There are exceptions to the rule, and we have muddied the water, but I didn't meet him at work and marry him. And I also don't believe in making friends at work. Work is a place where you know nice people and you're cordial, but you don't make friends, because the second you get your raise or get moved to that corner office, people start hating.